What's up, everybody? You're listening to the one and only T-Mac Inspired Podcast.
My name is Dr. Kiiyonna Jones, owner and founder of Lux Beauty and Wellness Boutique and Lux Beauty and Wellness Academy.
Listen as she sits down with regular people to discuss the ideas, the opportunities, and the wealth-building strategies that they're taking advantage of so the rest of us can do the same.
Kiiyonna.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Jones.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantabulous. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. When I got the message, I was like, absolutely. It was a no-brainer for me.
Everybody knows me. They know I come out the gate real strong, real heavy, right? I'm gonna talk a little heavy first.
Okay.
So, when you dropped out of high school, did you think that you would have helped over 100 nurses?
I didn't. When I dropped out of high school, I didn't think I was going to be able to help myself. 100 nurses. That time in my life, it was survival mode, you know? And, you know, I was a teenage mom. So I dropped out of high school to take care of my daughter when I was 17. I didn't have a lot of help. So it was really balancing being a teenage mom, just this whole transition to motherhood at such an early, immature age. I didn't think anything about being able to help others. I was trying to help me and that little one that was
right.
depending on me.
So what'd you do when you dropped out of high school?
So I dropped out of high school and I went to a school. It was a technical school out here. This was years ago. It was called Computer Learning Center, and they don't exist anymore. But this was when, I'm dating myself, but this is like when computers was very new, but it was like there was whole schools being created, like technical schools created just so you could learn computers and then, you know, get hired to like work on computers and things like that. So I went there and I was 18 at the time. And they offered, like, if you didn't have your high school diploma, you could take some test and get a high school diploma. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So I took this test and I was like, okay, I'm 18, right? I had taken this test and then I got the diploma in the mail. And so as my mom, she went up to the school with me and she was like, Kiiyonna, this school she's like, it's too much. It's too sketchy. Like, I don't want you to do this. So I ended up declining. I think they gave you like 7 business days to stay with it or not before you actually had to take out the loan. So I ended up leaving. So all along, I'm like, I got a high school diploma. It wasn't until I stopped that school. Then I started working. Still saying.
What kind of jobs?
Okay, I worked at Sprint PCS.
Okay.
I went to CNA. Let's go back. First, I was a CNA. Okay. I went through this school in Compton, adult school, and I got my CNA certificate. So I was a CNA. I did that for about a year and a half. And then I was like, okay, this is not for me. Then I worked at Sprint PCS. Okay. So I worked at Sprint PCS for about 3.5 years off of my high school diploma that I thought I had.
So who was keeping your daughter?
So when I was working at the hospital as a CNA, she was going between my grandmother and my mom and my sisters, like just whoever would help me. I was working nights. So that was a challenge. Just imagine a baby, you work nights, in the daytime, she's wide awake. So it was really a struggle. So eventually, it just wasn't gonna work. And it was really labor intensive. So I was working at a subacute respiratory hospital at the time. So it was so on my high school diploma, then I started working at Sprint. And I was there for like 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. And they ended up closing down. And so they were laying us all off. And so in that time, I said to myself, because all I wanted was more for her. She was my motivation. You know, I probably wouldn't even made it that far if I didn't have her. She just gave me purpose. And I was determined to give her a different life than what I had. So they laid us off. They sent out a notice that they were going to lay us off. And I said, this is my opportunity. This is my opportunity to go back to school.
How old were you then?
I was 21. I was 21.
Oh, you were so young.
Yeah, I was 21. And I said, this is my opportunity. I had no plan. By this time at 21, I was on my own, had my own place. I was paying my own rent. I'm in LA, so it's not cheap, even back then. So when they gave us that opportunity, they were laying us off. They gave us an opportunity to take an early severance package. So they were going to be laid off in 9 months, but they said, you could leave early. We'll give you a severance. And I was like, school started in January. This is like October. And I was like, I'm taking it. I'm about to leave. I'm going to school. Mind you, Tasha, I had no plan to pay my rent. I had no plan to pay my car note, but I knew when I look back on I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the word, but this was about the power of manifesting the life that you want. Looking as a grown adult now, I look back, and I didn't know it, but it was manifesting my life. Mm-hmm. So my family was like, well, what you gonna do? How you gonna? I was like, I don't know, but I'm leaving. Literally, Tasha, this story, and it still gives me chills because this story is so powerful, because I walked down to the HR office and I signed for my severance. They gave me my check, and I'm not lying to you. And this job was about 45 minutes from my house. I drove to my house, and my grandmother called me and said, you have a letter here from Section 8. I am not lying. I literally had just got to my house. So I'm like, huh? Totally forgot that when I was 17 and pregnant, my grandmother said, hey, this is when the newspapers was in. So for y'all young people, y'all might not know about this. But anyway, there was an ad in the newspaper they were taking applications for Section 8. And I was 17 and I just filled it out. She mailed it in for me. I forgot all about that. When I got home, they were sending letters out to people to come in and see if they qualify for their voucher. So technically I was still employed, but I literally had my severance with me. So I contacted them. I went for my interview. Bring that. I gave them all my information. My rent went from, I think it was at that time, $1,200 and something to $75. $75.
Wow.
And I knew it was over. Like I didn't know it was manifestation, but I was like, nobody can tell me nothing. Like I was determined. So Tasha, during that time, and so I started school. I was on the grind. I finished the 2 year. It was supposed to be 2 years. I finished it in 3 semesters. I took 20 something units every semester. I was in a community college, super aggressive and hungry, and just like, it just renewed me, right? Because I didn't realize it, but I was down. It renewed me. And so when I was applying for grants and stuff, I had more money than I had ever had working, because I was qualifying for everything, because I was low income. It was just crazy.
How did you know to do all that?
Tasha, that's the thing. I feel like I started to, I think this was a time where I really tapped into the networking, the power of networking too. So what I would do is I would go and sit in the transfer center at the community college. The president knew me. The director of the transfer center knew me. They will always be sending me, like, I was like the golden child. Like I was a teenage mom. I was like super smart. So I had all A's. I ended up being valedictorian of our graduating class. Like it was, so they would always call me like, Kiiyonna, apply for this college scholarship. I was a part of the GAIN program through the public service program in the state. Mm-hmm. My worker would call me all the time, Kiiyonna, we got this money. Because a lot of people don't realize they got to spend the money. Once it's allocated, they got to figure it out. They like, oh, we put an extra $1,000 on for books. Like, or we, I'm like, it was crazy, Tasha.
So you were balling.
I was balling. I had so much money, and I was afraid initially, but that's when I just knew the power of like manifesting the life you want and speaking things into existence and networking. Because at that time I was just around people who were educated, who knew way more than me, that were just pointing me and guiding me in the right direction.
So what happened? there's a piece missing in my mind because when I know I was a teenage mom, but my grandma, she was like, hey, live your life. I'm good. You're good. You know, go to school, blah, 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 blah. But I've still found time to party. I ain't hearing that. You ain't get to party?
Did I? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let me tell you what happened. My grandfather passed away. She was born in March. He passed away in December of her birth. So my grandmother cleaved to my daughter. She was just born, so that was her baby. So she was and by the time my daughter was 2, my mom got married and moved to Chicago. So my grandmother, she was even for school, like, you know, just staying up all night, she had me 100,000%. So it was my grandma too. But absolutely, I partied, girl. Did I party? I did. I think, you know, I partied more when I wasn't in school though, because once I got in school, it required so much of me that I only could do it like during summer breaks and stuff like that. But when I was in community college, I didn't even have those because I was going to school summer, winter. Like I wanted to be done. I felt like I was trying to play catch up. I wasn't that far behind, but in my mind at that time, I felt like I was because I had a lot of my classmates went straight to college. So I was trying to play catch up. So when I was in school, you know, so, but I still
So let me ask you this. At what point did you say, I want to put doctor in front of my name?
You know what?
What was going on in your life at that time?
My daughter was going away to college. She had got a full scholarship to Howard. And I was raised with her. I could not even, of course I supported her leaving all that, but, and I had a goal to have my PhD by the time I was 40. So I graduated, by the time I graduated with my master's, so I went the unorthodox route. I had a public health bachelor's. I don't have a bachelor's in nursing. I have a bachelor's in public health. Then I got my master's in nursing. So it was like an entry program, right? And way back then, it was like the first one. So I was done by the time I was 29 with everything. So 20, 28, 29. So I had a goal to have my PhD by the time I was 40. I kind of forgot about that goal until going away to college. Then I was like, what am I gonna do? Mind you, I had my other kid, but it was just different. Our connection, we was raised together. So it was just different. And I was just like, what am I gonna do? And I was like, I'm just go to school. So I checked.
Gotta fill the void some type of way, huh?
Yeah, and that's what I was doing. And by the time I was a year in, I was like, what the hell am I doing? I don't want to do this. So why am I here? But I was like, okay, I'm gonna just leave. And then they gave me a full scholarship the rest of the way. And I was just like, okay, well, I got a scholarship. I might as well finish. So I finished it.
So how did you feel after you accomplished that?
Oh, it definitely, honestly, it was a feeling of accomplishment. But when I look back on it, because when I originally started, I was thinking I was going to be in academia forever. Like I was going to get a tenure position, you know, just finish out my years, be one of them old professors still teaching the old way to do a Foley when we have technology or something, right? I just envisioned myself that way. Sure. And then those was very pivotal years for me where I began to evolve into who I am now. So what I realized is that my takeaway from my PhD program was really being a true advocate for the science of nursing and not just us as a skill-based profession, and really understanding from a philosophical level what it means to be a nurse and being able to advocate for that as a nurse entrepreneur now, right? Because we basically, a lot of times, we simplify our profession to a Foley and starting an IV, like more than that. And scientifically, we're scientifically driven, but when we just kind of minimize ourselves to skills, then we're no different. No offense to any skill-based profession, but I'm just saying we're no different than those that are just all about a technical, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that was my biggest takeaway from that. And then definitely just, going through a rigorous in-person PhD program really revealed to me just that resilience that I thought I had lost. Because now I was kind of going through life, and it was like, nah, I'm getting my ass up on Thursdays. Sorry, I hope you allow cursing. Getting up on Thursdays, and I am trucking down to San Diego. Then I got pregnant with my daughter in my 3rd year, and I stayed the course. So just kind of reignited the love for, my passion for being determined and driven to do the things that I say I'm gonna do. I'm gonna thug it out.
So you've had your PhD for how long?
I graduated in 2019. So I graduated 2019. I was 40 when I graduated. So it was my 40th year. Okay. It was my 40th year. Yeah. So I actually made my goal, and I actually lasted a year. So it was a year longer than what I was. So the program is set up to be 3 years, but most people finish in 4. I finished in 4.
Okay. So that's 2019. When did you start, like, technically say, okay, I'm going to go all in and be an entrepreneur?
So I was flirting with entrepreneurship as an administrative nursing supervisor at the hospital. And I would say I started probably in 2016. And my start for me, and I didn't probably realize I was starting entrepreneurship per se, but I knew I was starting to segue into something that was mine. I didn't quite know what it was. And the way I did that was I hired my first coach and my first therapist. There was just something missing, and I didn't know. I knew I wasn't qualified to determine what it was. Like, I needed some outside help. So that's when I first hired my first coach and therapist. And so that was when
So what did you find out was missing?
I had a lot, but I'm gonna just highlight a few. One of them was I had a strong desire for validation of others and acceptance. Being someone who, I was in high school and I was always the smart kid. I was always the one who did well in school. So my family didn't really, it was nothing. It was like, that's what Kiiyonna does, right? And so when I got pregnant, everybody was just disappointed. And it was more of you have ruined your life. So I sought out validation so much so that it was what drove me to do the things that I did. Now, even fast forward to my PhD, I realized that at this point, it was easy for me. I've been through so much education, but I just wanted people who thought it was hard to give me the validation that I needed, right? So I was doing a lot of things seeking validation because I was counted out so much after I had my daughter. So I had to realize that I am enough, and whatever I choose to do with my life was enough. And so when you think about being worried about that, needing, not being worried about, but needing validation from others, and then trying to step out into something where the biggest fear is failure, you're never going to get there because you're so, you may not get that validation. So you're always doing what's safe. School for me, that I had that. So I always doing what's safe. Entrepreneurship, foreign, a whole nother language, high likelihood of failure because I didn't know a lot about this. And so now, but I'm validated by people's opinions. So I had to work on that. And then the second big thing was my relationship with money. And constantly hearing as a kid, money don't grow on trees, poverty. Oh, my mom was on the system. My mom worked hard, to take care of us as a single parent, so my relationship with money was from a very scarce mindset that I had to work on. So those were the two topics. I could go on, girl, but we don't.
Right. So, but as I say in all of my interviews, we're here for the people, right? Yeah. It doesn't do the people any good to see our successes and not know what we had to go through to get there and what we continue to go through, because it's not over once you reach, like you said, I had my PhD, but then I still had to get a therapist, right? I still had to get a coach.
Always.
So my thing is more so towards, don't look at where people are. Look at where they were to get to where they are. Because one of the things that I realized, and I just realized this like recently, and I think I told, we talked about it, on our calls and stuff. People don't care about what you have. There are people out here that are up at night, Googling, YouTubing, trying to figure out, how can I live a better life? How can I get out of this, whatever it is? How can I get out of this rat race? How can I earn extra money on the side? How? And then they'll Google and they'll go down a rabbit hole. They'll YouTube and they'll watch a whole bunch of videos, and then they're still stuck.
Yeah.
But when, let's say they're on IG and they're looking at you, looking at your, you're helping hundreds and hundreds of people and nurses, and, you're teaching them different, digital world and all this, how they can make money, on the side and stuff. They're reluctant because they think that that's where you started.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So people don't, and like I said on our calls that we used to have, people do not buy modules. They don't buy presentations. They don't buy PowerPoints. They buy transformation.
Yeah.
And as much as you tell your story, as much as I tell my story, you know how many people on this earth, they don't hear it?
Yeah.
It's a small percentage of the people that do. But guess what? For the ones who are looking for it, I believe that those are the people that need to hear it, and they will hear it, right? Exactly. So it's the, they scroll and they can scroll and they can scroll, but they never hear or see, wow, she dropped out of high school and she has a PhD, and now she's teaching nurses how to be free as well, and how to, make all this money. Because there are nurses right now that are literally, so frustrated. They don't know, they just don't know what to do.
Yes.
So what do you say to that nurse who's up at night, Googling and YouTubing? She's made all this COVID money, and she didn't want to go back because she almost died making it.
Yes.
So what do you say to that nurse?
Coaching and therapy changed my life. I'm an advocate for it. And a lot of times people think I'm trying to promote my coaching. I'm not. I'm saying, you a coach who is where you're trying to be. Okay? A lot of people don't understand because it's now become so diluted in its value, because it seems like everybody is a coach. But the truth is, anybody who is doing the thing that you want can help and mentor you to get there. So if you want to call them a mentor, whatever you want to title them, get you somebody who can help you get to where you're trying to go. Now, and this is something I tell people in life in general, like if you want to have a successful marriage, don't go to somebody who's been divorced 5 times. They're probably not the person.
I wish I had tea in it instead of water. That's some tea right there.
I'm just saying, but if you want to get to $1 million and you're a nurse, find a nurse that's got $1 million. And if they're doing the thing you want to do to get to your million, whether it's Airbnb, whether it's real estate, whether it's Turo, whatever it is, hire somebody. And the next thing is not gonna go on and on about this too, but I'm gonna give you 2. The next thing is work on that relationship with investing your money. You are not spending your money on your coach. You are not spending your money on the mentor. You're not spending your money on the conference. You're investing your money, because the potential connections you can make in a conference could change your life. The potential connections that your mentor can get you in the rooms with could change your life. The value that they can add to your life can change your life. I think people don't realize that it's an investment. So when I invest in a coach or in a program, I'm just thinking to myself, how can I get the money back that I've invested? And can I live off of this for a lifetime? And most of the time, the tools, the frameworks that they have can get you there. can get you there, and they are sustainable, right? So me taking the class on Kajabi has changed my life. I made a course this weekend based on what I saw in Black Nurse Entrepreneurs. Just created a course. People are buying the course. It took me about 12 hours, and that wasn't even the research. That was me trying to do the graphics, which is a whole nother part. But the point is, I did it.
And you should have hired somebody to do the graphics.
I know, but only because it was over the weekend. You know, I got my VAs, but it was like one of those serendipitous, like, I'm gonna just do it. And I did it. So what I'm trying to say for people, you know, we have to think about those investments. I can live off of this forever. I can create a course like that. So I have people who have purchased like created an ebook. They can make ebooks forever. I have one lady, she's like, oh, I'm on my 8th ebook. She go by every time somebody come to her and ask her a question about her niche that's not included, that she don't already have, she create an ebook about it. We gotta get to this digital, okay, that's my whole nother thing. But the point is definitely in making the investment in yourself, getting into tech, digital, you gotta do that, invest in that. You gotta invest in something that's gonna be in here that you can continue to grow. And that is monetizing your knowledge. That's the best thing right now, y'all, to wake up to money. I don't care if I got 2 sales off of my $150 course. I want you to do the math. If I get 2 sales off of my $150 course a day, that's multiple 6 figures. That's over $200,000 a year. I created that course one time. All I gotta do is keep reminding people that it's there. Hey, I got a course for you. Hey, I got that course for you. I'd be creative on how I remind them, but all I gotta do is remind them because there's somebody out there who needs it.
For sure. That's it. And I think it's all mindset. Yeah. We know that. So, you know, we're speaking to people who are either entrepreneurs and they're stuck.
Yes.
Or they want to be an entrepreneur and they're stuck. Right. The thing is, if you can wrap your mind around, if I can just put my hands on 10 and 2 long enough to do one thing. And I just did an interview earlier with someone, and she was like, I was all over the place. I was doing hair, I was selling hair, I was just all over the place, doing all kinds of stuff, just was not related. Somebody said something in a course drop, I went over there and got the course, she said, and then I just said, you know what, I'm gonna do this one thing. And then she went from $30,000 a year to her first year, she made $181,000 doing one thing. First year. Second year, she retired her mom.
Wow.
And ordered her a brand new Maserati.
Yes, let's go.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So one thing, and I think that's what happens with entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs who are stuck, instead of them pivoting. Because here's the thing that Kiiyonna may think the world wants to hear, the thing that Tasha may think the world needs to know, that might not be what they want, especially our community and the people who pay attention to us. Yeah. So I would say pay attention to what people are asking you about.
For sure. And you know, when you hire someone or you get you a coach, a good coach, they're going to guide you. They should already. So what I consider I dog whistle for my tribe. I say things intentionally that's going to either repel those who are not for me and bring those in who I can help. Because I already know where you are. When I get on a call with you and you telling me, and I'm just thinking, okay, yeah, I was there about 6 years ago. So let me go back to my 6 years. I'm gonna help bring you through that because I know what your thoughts are. I know as a nurse, your family got you thinking you big bang hang. I know that you waiting for that check to come though on Friday because I did the same thing. I know that you working overtime, triple time, and you still can't see your money. I identify with you because I am you. And so I'm going to help you understand where you are and how you get to the next point. And like you just said, that's exactly what it is. It's like telling you what to focus on. I always say you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. That's why I always have a coach. I don't even feel right when I don't have a coach. Like I need some accountability. I need a little bit of this. Like help me, because sometimes I'm so in it that I may miss the boat on something. And so having a coach, having someone to help me, like, all right, you're doing too much. Why are you way over here when you know
way
here?
way. It may sound good, and I've even had to say, because I get bored a lot, so I'm just sitting here with nothing to do, and somebody will say, well, you need to do this, hey, come over here and do this, and I'm like, well, you ain't doing nothing. I like doing nothing. I'd rather do nothing. And when I say do nothing, y'all, I have worked for a long time. Now my money's working for me. So I'd rather be over here minding my business than be way over there trying to create something that God didn't call me to do. Keeping me further from helping the people that God called me to help.
Yes.
So it makes sense to, if you don't know what you want to do, like you said, get a coach.
Yeah, get a coach.
Seek somebody out who let's say they have a little idea, inkling. Maybe I want to write. Maybe I want to write books. Then you need to seek out people who write books. Yeah. Seek out authors, successful authors, coaches, who do that. That's who you seek out. And don't seek them out, and you over here seeking out people that do Airbnbs, people that store Turo, and people that's investing in apartment buildings. Then you're never gonna. You gotta find one thing.
And listen, even me, I that's how I feel, because I'm like, ooh, I'm like Dory. Like okay, Kiiyonna, I have to often reset myself, like MedSpa. Like I have to digital products. That's my little side jam, because I really love it and I know the value of it, but MedSpa, like I have to do that. So this year actually is my year where I'm like, okay, I'm just
MedSpa.
10 into it, like you said, 10 into it and focus. I'll dibble with my digital because I enjoy that, right? But MedSpa.
Yeah, but digital that stems from the MedSpa.
Yeah,
I mean, that's as it should. That's part of your 7 streams. People think 7 streams supposed to come from 7 different
places. I can't imagine.
No, ma'am. 7 streams comes from one branch.
Yeah.
Right. Just one tree, and then you get your streams from that. And so just being able to refocus people. And I've watched you from afar, and I've noticed, and I see your growth. Watch you build this huge tribe, and I love to see that, because to me, honestly, I think your hands are on 10 and 2.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because you're not going to be able to grow like that if you're not.
Yeah. And it took some time, and that's what I say, like I always say it on my lives and everything. I'm like, I've yet to meet a person who didn't need, like, we have to deal with the things that we have learned that was kind of old school. And that's not what we in right now. Listen, I learned from millennials. Because listen, they understand. They understand the assignment. And so I am very traditional. I was raised, I'll say, school, family, to work, retire. Then that's when you live your life. And so rethinking that and reimagining what my future will look like in this current climate, it's just been a challenge for me, but I have been making strides because I have continued to surround myself with people who are visionaries about their own lives. And I'm like, I want that too. I don't want to be 65. Yeah, me neither, So I'm learning and I'm growing, but I'm a canvas. I'm open. I'm always taking little pieces and I'm like, that's true. So I'm continuing to learn, but sometimes we have to shake up this monotony that we have in our lives and get extremely uncomfortable. So much so that you're comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
In my life. Yeah.
For sure. I'm here too. Like I'm sitting here saying I do nothing, but I've just embarked on this whole podcast.
Right.
Thing. But I like it. I can't even sound uncomfortable.
You slaying it.
Giving me life. But yeah, I just feel like so many people need to hear stories like your story. So many. I mean, I'm gonna go as far as to say men too.
Yeah. I get messages from me. I mean, my target is women nurses, but I get messages from guys too. And so much so that I have to let them know, listen, I'm team man too. It's just that my tribe is women. That's my target market, but I got nothing but love for you guys. Like, seriously, I love men. I'm not leaving y'all out. I'm not a man hater or nothing. Like,
right.
But sometimes you'll get guys like, hey, I see you always talking about women, but I'm like, no, I got you.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So when you're bringing value to people, it's not a gender thing. Value is value. It's just, you can't work with me because I work for women only. That's what you're telling them.
Exactly.
Yeah, take this value because that's what it is. And they can take it and they can apply it. So tell people how they can find you if they're not already linked with you.
So you can find me on Instagram. That's my jam. I'm at Sidepreneur, SIDEPRENEUR_nurse. That's my Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, Kiiyonna Jones. I think it's Doctor. Yes, Kiiyonna Jones on Instagram. And I have a website, which is www.drkiiyonnajones.com. That's everything.
And the links will be, we'll have all the links
on that one website. So you can find me in all my social media outlets that way.
Okay, I'll have it all, all your links and things like that attached. So last thing. Give her, the 17-year-old dropout, give her one word of advice.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. The 17-year-old. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. The 17-year-old didn't think so. 17-year-old did not think so, could not see it. But it's going to be okay.
But it's going to be okay.
It was all worth it. It was
for
all
sure.
worth it.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
I love having conversations with bosses.
Thank you. And thank you for asking me those thoughtful questions, because that was deep. I appreciate that.
Hey. Don't forget to follow me, if you're not, on all platforms at TMAC_inspired. All right. See you on the next episode. Bye.